Hello, so we are going to be solving quadratics from the JMAP Solving Quadratics 6 worksheet, and we're going to do these in the next few videos using the quadratic formula, which is over here on the right hand side, upper corner. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and this formula is given on Regents exam, so you don't have to memorize it, but after you use it a few times, it's just something you end up knowing. So because this quadratic equation in number 1, which they're asking us to find the roots of, is not factorable, we have to use the quadratic formula. So it's not factorable because there are no factors that when you multiply them together will give you a -4, and when you sum them to give you a -5. So if you see, I named my A, B, and C according to the standard form of this quadratic equation, with my A as 1, B is -5, and C is -4. So now it is just a matter of substitution. Because B is negative, it's going to come out to be positive in the quadratic formula. -5 is going to go in parentheses because I have to square that value, and that should be a positive after you square it. And then I have -4 times 1 times -4 with the substitution all over 2 times 1. Now, this right here is what is called the discriminant. And that is called the discriminant because it tells you about its solutions. That's right here, that b squared minus 4ac. If that number comes out to be a perfect square, you're going to get 2 rational solutions. And if you get 2 rational solutions, then that quadratic equation was originally factorable. But the quadratic formula will work on all quadratics as long as they're set equal to 0. If the discriminant is not a perfect square, then it's going to come out to be 2 irrational numbers, and you would leave that in most cases in square root form unless they ask you to round it. And then you're going to put that in your calculator, which we'll do in the very last video. Anyway, you can put that discriminant right into your graphing calculator by storing 1 in for A, -5 in for B, and -4 in for C. And then if you type your b squared minus 4ac, well, you have to type b squared minus 4 times a times c to make sure that it works into your graphing calculator. And if you do that, you'll be able to skip this next step, which I'm going to show just so you could see the entire process. But you could skip that step because you wouldn't complete each one of these calculations separately if you're putting them into your graphing calculator. So you have -5 squared, which is a positive 25. -4 times 1 is -4, times another negative is times another -4 is a positive 16. All over 2. Now that's a step you could skip if you use store for A, B, and C, and then put the discriminant in your calculator. You would get out right away the 41, which you could go right to this step. And this is as easy as it gets with the quadratic equation because 41 is not simplifiable, which means you can't there's no perfect square that will divide evenly into 41. So your 2 solutions separately are 5 plus the square root of 41 over 2 and 5 minus the square root of 41 over 2. And unless they ask you to round it, you would leave these as is. Because those are irrational answers. Those are exact. If you put them in your calculator, you're going to get rounded solutions. That discriminant is not a perfect square. So again, you're going to get your irrational 2 solutions. That plus minus builds in. So that's built in to give you your 2 solutions, and you can keep it like that together, or you can separate them out like that. It does not matter. To check them, you could put your answers into store separately and then type in your quadratic equation and make sure you get your true.